All right, what's going on, guys? Jeff here. Today's Friday, and I know how much you guys like me talking about my weekly trades. Quite evident because from the amount of views that you guys gave me for the Friday views, I'll start with my weekly trades again. Okay, so let's see transactions. All right. So first of all, I already explained this to you guys a lot, which is that I expect 2022 to be a very, very sideways trading market. Okay. And chances are that I am looking at myself making one bad trade by doing this method, which is by selling calls on good days and then just buying back those calls when inevitably all the stocks kind of go down um, hugely. That's kind of how I've been playing the way that I've been doing it. All right, so first of all, I sold Robinhood calls. So the thing is that because I have, I think 600 shares of Robinhood right now. Okay, I have 600 shares of Robinhood on my Moomoo account. Okay, and if you are not on Moomoo, get some free stocks down below in the description box. Okay, but anyway, um, because of how much Robinhood shares that I'm actually being exposed to, and I also understand that Robinhood is currently going to be going through a lot of volatility. And I do think that on the day that Robinhood actually went up 24% or 27%, something crazy, I thought to myself and I thought, like, I'm not going to squander on a green day, okay? Sometimes you want to just take some profits. However, a small part of me also think that I do like the whole Robinhood business concept, and I think that of course we're just going through hyperinflationary pressures in the whole market, and there's a lot of fears in the market as well for any sort of tech place. Okay, any sort of tech company place that is in the micro cap or non mega cap tech place, chances are they're going to get destroyed, and they're going to get destroyed hard. Okay, it doesn't matter if it's your Robinhood, if it's your SoFi, if it's going to be like I don't know, like a UiPath. Okay, all these tech plays that are slightly on the smaller side of things, they're going to get destroyed. Okay, especially in 2022. I do see them trading sideways all the way, and then we are going to see gradual downward pressure coming in. So I sold calls. Okay, basically a bearish play on it. But I didn't want to sell off my shares because you never know. Because Robinhood is the kind of company that apes like to get into. I do think that, of course, the ape nation hates Robinhood because of what happened back in January. But the thing is that some of the apes would gladly buy into Robinhood, thinking that Robinhood can go to the moon, and that's kind of my whole mindset about it. So yeah, I did sell Robinhood calls. For those 600 shares, I sold six contracts. Okay, so they are all covered calls. Okay, I sold six contracts for $4 each, and basically that gave me $2,400. And yesterday I closed off my contracts and I paid $800. So in the difference of it, I made about $1,000 plus, $1,008. So pretty good trade for myself. All right, next up, lemonade calls. Okay, same thing. I sold lemonade calls because I thought, it's gonna be quite bad. However, for lemonade, I actually did a little bit of a mistake because I sold my lemonade calls previously when lemonade was about $24 or so. And lemonade actually went all the way to $27, and the covered call that I had actually went into the negative. Okay, it went negative by about 200% or so. Okay, I was actually quite close to getting assigned away. But yesterday, during the huge crash in the whole entire market, be it your S&P and your Nasdaq and such, everything went down. And when everything went down, basically, I found a good spot for myself to buy back into my calls, and I actually got out scot free. And I also made about I think $80 on those contracts. Well, it's just two contracts. I earned about $40 per contract. So yeah, $80. Very, very happy with that. Okay. Next up, I sold my Snapchat calls, which I think I already sold for, I think it has been about a week or so. I talked about this, I think it was in the previous week or so, I think. And yesterday, I bought back my Snapchat calls just to close off my short position on my covered position. For Snapchat, I earned about $700 on my Snapchat position, which is very nice. Okay, I do think that those are just cheap place for me to actually get a little bit of money. Peloton calls, same thing. I sold Peloton calls, the 100 that I was assigned the other time. But yeah, Peloton. Well, right now, I sold the contract for 88 cents, aka $88. And then right now it's worth 6 cents. So I've not closed it yet, but chances are I'm going to be closing it today. So that's gonna most likely be about I don't know, $80 of $80 of profit for that. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. All right, next up we have Funware. Okay, so Funware is a kind of weird one. Okay, so Funware kind of very, very heavily associated with DWAC. Okay, DWAC, which is also very, very heavily related to Trump, the Truth Social app. Okay, so DWAC was this SPAC that actually worked together with Trump's social media platform, and then they kind of just went into the market with that. Funware was actually kind of closely associated with DWAC. So when Funware was actually going up, it was due to the whole DWAC movement upwards. So right now I do have 2,000 shares. It's crazy. Okay, I have 2,000 shares of Funware, and my average for Funware at the moment is about $3.40. Okay, you know what's the craziest thing about Funware? Okay, my average is about $3.40. Okay, but the thing is that right now it's at $2.30. You would think that I am actually down. Okay, but I'm actually not. Okay, I'm actually not, because I've been cycling so many options contract on Funware. I basically broke even or even made more money. Okay, right now for Funware, okay, I have 20 contracts. Well, sold calls contract on Funware. Okay, for $1.20 per contract. Of course, these are going to be expiring way, way, way later on, about September 22nd. Okay, no, September 16th, my bad. September 16th. So it's gonna be way ahead. But I'm not worried because I sold them for a pretty good amount of money. So of course, I immediately got a upfront cash of about 2,000. 2004. I got about 2004 or so. Okay, so I'm very, very happy about that. And right now, the price of the options for Funware calls is about 48 cents. So I've effectively made about 68% off of this whole entire trade already. So there is a good chance that I might actually close it today. But I do think that Funware might actually run up a little bit today. I'll see how it goes, okay? Because like I said before, I do think that Fridays are usually something that's going to be very, very troublesome for us. Especially later on, I'll be going through some of the concerns that I have going through this weekend as well. Okay. And then finally, my Futu puts. I mean, let's be honest now. I sold so much Futu puts that I already assured, okay, I've already realized the gains for my Futu puts. I made about 4,009. Okay. And then I bought more Futu puts yesterday at the start of the session. And then it immediately just went up because Futu just tanked like 7% yesterday. Yeah, 7% yesterday. So it's quite crazy. So I'm actually quite happy about that. But right now, my Futu puts, right now, I think I'm actually already kind of completely break even as it is. I'm already just playing with house money as it is. But the thing is, my own personal thought, because right now Futu puts is going to be expiring next week on next Friday. Okay, it's going to be slightly dangerous because it's better for me to just get out now and just take whatever money I have. But of course, I'll be explaining some of my concern and some of the catalysts for going through with the whole weekend and such. I do think that there are some things that we actually need to be slightly more worried about, especially with how China is also going through another form of another round of lockdowns again. So yeah, those are basically my trades. And also I did also buy a little bit more Occidental puts But this was actually quite early on in the week. Not really working out very well for those Occidental puts, of course, because prices of oil kept on going up. But same thing, my Occidental petroleum puts actually expire next year. So basically, I'm actually expecting oil prices to stabilize by next year. So I'm not really that concerned right now. Okay, anyway, without further ado, let's cover some news today. Right, I can't believe I spent 10 minutes talking about trades, but okay. All right, let's talk about, first of all, Walmart dangling $110,000 starting pay to lure truck drivers. So yeah, if you are a truck driver in Singapore, okay, you don't mind migrating over to the US, hey, pretty good job. Okay, of course, I do understand that it's up to 110. Okay, but dude, average starting salary of 87,000 is pretty good. And even if you're not getting 87,000, okay, 70,000 wouldn't be that bad either, and you're getting in USD. So pretty good. Of my own personal opinion, I guess. But yeah, this actually just shows more pressure on supply chains as per usual. Okay, we actually see it from UPS reports from previous quarter saying that it's starting to become a little bit harder for them to actually hire more delivery truck drivers and such. So I do understand that supply chain wise, we have to worry about the commodities, we have to worry about the manufacturers and such, but we also cannot forget the integral part of the people who are delivering from the businesses over to other businesses or from the businesses over to the consumer. Okay, so these drivers, truck drivers, delivery drivers, freight ships, your Amazon delivery services and such, all this super duper integral. So I think that these are also often the forgotten heroes in our supply chain when we actually talk about them. So yeah, especially when you hit with a lockdown and such, or even for these people who are actually taking care of delivery and such, they feel that oftentimes they feel that they are able to upgrade themselves or over to a better position in their life, which power to them. But when they actually do that, then at the same time there will always be this continuing shortage of drivers in the whole country. So yeah, I think that that's going to be a big issue that eventually will be solved by AI. But of course, we are not really at that point where we're actually solving AI, solving all these problems with AI at the moment. All right, next up, let's move on to CNBC. Okay, Chinese tech stocks in Hong Kong slip as investor watch COVID situation in China. Okay, so this is very important for me. Okay, because Chinese tech stock slip. For me, like I said before, Futu puts. Okay, that's the first thing. Okay, that's the first thing first. Okay, because of course we do understand that the Chinese market opened earlier than the US market, simply because we are in a faster GMT. Okay, mainland Chinese market will make Shanghai composite gain a little bit. Shenzhen went down a little bit. Okay, Hong Kong went down a little bit. Yeah, you see, Alibaba went down, JD went down, Meituan went down. Okay, these are big Chinese tech companies, and of course, these are actually being brought forth from the new reformations of the new lockdowns, where they do not want to do one whole global not global, like a whole countrywide lockdown. Instead, they are just doing like a few cities where they feel that the virality bubble is getting way too big, and then they just just cover it up with a cup and just like, all right, you guys are going to be locked down for the next 2 weeks, settle the problems, and then they just move on and on. I do think that China is really getting a good hold onto this kind of thing. I do think that China have this good goal in mind, which is saying that they do want to have a zero COVID cases and such. Pretty smart and all. Big fan of that. But at the same time, of course, there are other countries, it be your US, your UK, your European countries and such. Even Singapore, okay, we're still getting COVID cases every single day. That's without a doubt, okay? And we are not sure if there is any sort of a virality bubble happening in any parts of the world at the moment, okay? Because a lot of time, people are not really going through testing as heavily as before. If anything, people are doing more testing if they're actually going overseas. So yeah, of course, right now the whole virality side of things is not the pressure of the virality is not as high as before as compared to what we had for Delta, because people were actually dying left, right, and center. Okay, right now with Omicron, and of course there are people who are calling this Deltacron. There's some people who are starting to actually call this the Pi variant, which, basically saying that the sub variant. Well, okay, some of them are actually calling Omicron BA2 sub variant. Some people are actually thinking that this might be the next variant would most likely be the Pi variant as it is. But yeah, people are talking about how this might not be that big of an issue, and like the sub variant as it is very, very mild, just giving you a sore throat like my throat. And it didn't. I've been testing. Okay, I've been testing every day, and you know how expensive this thing is. It's like $20. Jeez. Okay, but anyway, so I've been testing every single day as well. Okay, so yeah, sore. You have like a sore throat, you have mild cough, you have, I don't know, like like a mild fever of some sort. So yeah, these are some of the symptoms that you might be getting for if you have Omicron BA2 subvariant and such. But of course, I think that a lot of countries are actually getting a little bit of a slowdown, and they think that as long as you guys self-isolate, everyone have the social responsibility to do their own self-isolation, also good, that sort of thing. All right, anyway, that's all for Chinese stocks. Okay, let's move on to the Russia-Ukraine situation, because that's going to be a little bit more interesting. Okay, Putin might turn to weapon of mass destruction if Russia doesn't win in the eastern Ukraine. He's talking about the Donbass area. Okay, so Vladimir Putin might resort to weapons of mass destruction like chemical or tactical nuclear weapons if he fails to achieve a conventional forces victory in eastern Ukraine. Okay, those are very serious risks. The Biden administration seems to be discounting rather too casually. The U.S. strategy seems to be to let the war go on, to bleed Russia dry, and hope for the regime change in Moscow. But Ferguson said that this is a very hazardous strategy. So yeah, right now I think that that's basically what a lot of people are actually thinking. The Russia and Ukraine are actually going through, which is basically just keeping Russia pumping more resources into this war as much as they can, and then see where it actually goes in the future. I do think that right now this is going to be hurting Putin's ego a lot more than we actually expected from before. So I do think that there might actually come a period where Putin actually start using weapons of mass destruction. And I think the day that actually happened, which I honestly feel that this day can actually come anytime. It could be tomorrow, it could be next week, it could be next month, it could be next year. But I do think that this day is getting closer and closer. Because if another day passes where Putin do not win, it simply means that the whole entire world is spitting in the face of Russia. Because Russia, historically speaking, they should have easily gotten Ukraine and would have easily annexed the whole city without any doubt. Okay, that was what we actually thought as well. Okay, but yeah, that clearly didn't happen. And what we are really, really worried about is when the weapons of mass destruction actually come in. Okay, so the weapons of mass destruction is chemical or tactical nuclear weapons. Okay, we already know that chemical weapons are already present in that area, and nuclear weapons are what Russia usually have as a trump card sort of thing. So that's why we are actually very, very worried about this, because of course, if Russia do use any of these weapons, they also know that they cannot really go back to what it was before. They cannot really go back to just another normal Russia kind of thing. It's going to actually evolve into a proper procedure towards World War. So personally, I'm very, very worried about that, which is why, like I said before, I don't see the market being super duper positive over this sort of catalyst, especially on Fridays, okay? Especially on Fridays. I've said this before. Fridays are usually the worst time for people to really jump into the market because a lot of time that's where there's way too much uncertainty. Okay, China can suddenly just be like, we're locking down the whole entire country. Russia can suddenly just say that they want to use chemical weapons. US can suddenly say that they want to actually start to involve themselves into the war. Ukraine can suddenly say that they want to give up. A lot of things can happen in the short 48 hours. This is something that I talk about every single Friday. And I want to let you guys know that this is very, very integral for me, because 48 hours doesn't seem like a lot to us. Okay, chances are we're going to rest at home. We're going to go out with friends. We're going to watch a movie. We're going to play some games. And 48 hours is over. Okay. But for them, 48 hours, that's where most of the high level decisions are going to be made. Okay. Country leaders are going to be making their decision way before the 48 hours, and they will be implementing those decisions on Friday, on Saturday, because they do not want to tank the entire market. And it's almost like a surprise kind of thing, even though it's not really that surprising after all. So yeah, that's why I do think that, if anything, just try to avoid Fridays if you can. But of course, if you do, guess it right, you're going to shock a bit, because chances are most of my big wins so far have been from Friday trades, where I actually accurately predicted something to happen on the next or during the weekend itself. But at the same time, I do understand that most of my losses actually come from predicting Friday attacks as well. So yeah, you never know. Okay, so let's move on to the next one, which is Tesla hosting the Cyber Rodeo party at the Giga Austin. Quite interesting, because I have watched a few videos on the whole Cyber Rodeo party, where they actually introduce in 2023. They'll be introducing the Cybertruck. They'll be introducing the new Roadster. The new Roadster actually looks so good. The Roadster looks so good. If anything, I would like to think that the Roadster is kind of like an in between Model 3 and Model S. It's still a sedan car as compared to the Model X, where it's actually a little bit of a hatchback, where they have the Falcon wing doors and such. I do think that the Roadster is very, very interesting. The Roadster, really, really good. The first ever Roadster by Tesla, it's kind of like a subpar Model 3. But for this one, I do think that the Roadster is very, very interesting. So if that actually comes to Singapore, I might consider. We'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes. So yeah, the Cybertruck is going to be confirmed for 2023. Of course, we have already received previous confirmation from, I think it was the last quarter of 2021, where they said that they're going to just push it all the way to 2023. So yeah, Cybertruck is coming. Interesting. There are also, merchandise being sold over at the Cyber Rodeo party. Pretty cool. And they are also talking about the robo taxis. So the robo taxis are basically this taxi service where it's all driverless, and they are going to be doing it in Vegas, if I remember correctly. They actually talked about this before, and they actually are trying to replace the whole railroad in Vegas as it is. I think it's quite smart for them to actually go through this whole entire way they are doing the whole robo taxis and such. Excuse me. But of course, I do think that there's going to be some problems ahead, which it comes with all AI actually. So I actually have not really properly went through the event online for some live stream and such, but I will probably go through it during the weekends, maybe when I'm just bored, I guess. Yeah. So let's see. Yeah, the first mass produced. Okay, Fremont. Yeah, okay. They're just talking mostly about yeah. Okay, they're not really talking much about it. They're just talking about how they're going to be opening Giga Austin. Cool. All right. The next up will be Warren Buffett making about $650 million on HP after stake was reviewed. Okay, honestly speaking, when people said that the rich get richer, it's kind of obvious that this kind of thing can happen. And it's kind of funny because it kind of happened in quick succession as well. Elon Musk, the richest man on earth, bought Twitter, bought 9.2% stake in Twitter, and easily his net worth just increased by $600 million or so, or $800 million or so, something ridiculous. Okay, Right now, next up, Warren Buffett, which I'm pretty sure would be a household name for anyone who even knows about investing to begin with. Or even if you do not know anything about investing, you will know about Warren Buffett. And he made about $650 million on HP after he bought HP via Berkshire Hathaway. This happened yesterday. No, the day before yesterday. It was reported yesterday. Yes, correct. Shares of HP soared after Warren Buffett's Berkshire Hathaway revealed that it owns 121 million shares of the PC and printer maker. The stock rose by 15%, boosting the value of Berkshire stakes by about $650 million to $4.85 billion. So personally, I'm not a big fan of this acquisition. It's not really like an acquisition. I'm not really happy with this purchase by Warren Buffett, simply because I do think that HP is not really that competitive. I'm not sure what are they actually thinking about getting with HP. I'm not sure if Charlie Munger's, talk him into it or anything. Personally, I think that because HP have a lot more downside risk than upside risk, as compared to, like, for example, if we were to talk about the computer side of things and the printer side of things, if we were to compare it to like your Dell or I don't know any other company, whatever it is, or like I won't consider it to Microsoft, like Dell. Okay, I'm just gonna throw Dell out of the way as well. If you're comparing these two companies, there's not really that big of a difference for these two companies, which is why it kind of works either way, whichever company you actually get into. But if you actually want to compare it to actual PC companies, okay, if you really wanted to, you can compare Microsoft, where they're actually doing way more than just the PC itself. They're actually in charge of whatever the software it is on its own as well. And let's not forget Apple, okay? Apple kind of forces people to stay within its ecosystem. HP is not doing that, okay? HP is not going to tell you that, okay, today if you're going to print on our computer, okay, if you move on to another computer, you are not able to print using our printer. There's no such thing. Okay, and I do think that because of that, HP have this sort of like a disconnect between all their consumers. It's very easy for them to actually upgrade outside of HP, and because of that, I do think that HP is not that good of a stock for myself. But of course, I do think that for Berkshire Hathaway, they do invest in slightly safer companies, and even then they already have a huge share, like a huge exposure to Apple as it is. So I do think that maybe that's why they are kind of like diversifying into the tech play by going to HP. I'm not sure, but of course HP also gives out dividend, so I think that also kind of makes sense for them to maybe want to get into HP. I'm not very sure, but yeah, personally, not my kind of trade. I do know that they made a lot of money, $650 million richer, but still not my play. I wouldn't have known at all. So yeah, just look at this, okay? Like year over year, HP went up by 7%, Apple went up by 36%, S&P went up by 9%. HP is not even beating the index. So I don't think that this was that good of an acquisition. But of course, you never know, because there is a good possibility that Warren Buffett might know something that we don't. Okay, that's a very good possibility. Okay, HP might want to get into the metaverse, for example. That could be the case. Or HP decides to work together with, I don't know, Tesla or something. Like, we do not know if these are going to be possible things that actually might be happening. Okay, but anyway, that's all we have for today's news, actually. But yeah, okay, I went through my news. I went through my trades. Yeah, okay, I think that's about it. But yeah, anyway, I have to record the video for the 10-2 inverted yield curve as well for the recession video on Saturday. So stay tuned for that. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. Thank you so much.